Assalamu alaikum children, Ramzan Mubarak to all of you. Hope you have completed your percentage homework by now. Today we are going to proceed by finding the percentage of a quantity or a number. Since we all know that a percent is a fraction and the number or a quantity is actually the amount, right? So finding a percentage of a quantity or a number is actually the same as finding the fraction of the amount. All right, so calculation is very simple. Now let's look at this question. Here we have a 10% of 95. We have to find 10% of 95. So 10% can be written as 10 over 100. Of can be replaced by a multiply sign and 95 we just copy down, right? After that we are going to do the reducing and the cancelling, and this is how we get the answer as 9 over 2 or 9.5. Another way of doing this is to change this fraction into a decimal. So 10% can be written as 10 over 100 multiplied by 95. 10 over 100 can be written as 0.10 multiplied by 95, and 9.5 is your answer. The answer is going to be the same. It's your choice to either solve it with a fraction or with a decimal. Now look at this question. We have this 28% of $8. So 28% can be written as 28 over 100, right? Of can be replaced with a multiply sign, and $8 can be written as 8 instead of 8.00. Now we can just do the reducing. We can cancel out, we can divide it by 4, right? 4 sevens are 28, 4 25s are 100. So what are we left with? 7 over 25 times $8. Now we can multiply 7 by 8, which becomes 56 over $25, right? And if you solve it, your answer will be 2.24. That means $2.24. All right, you have to remember to bring down the dollar sign because you're actually finding out 20%, 28% of $8. Another way of doing this is you can write 28% as 28 over 100, right? Multiplied by $8. And this can be written as 0.28 times $8. And when you solve it, your answer is going to be the same, 2.24. Correct? Now let's go on to the next question. This is the same kind of question but asked in a different way. Now, as we all know, how do we change a fraction percent into a fraction? It becomes 25 over 4%, right? Of can be replaced by a multiply sign multiplied by 1 kg 200 grams. Now we have to change it into 1 unit. We have to change the whole thing into grams. So 1 kg is actually 1,000 gram, right? 1,000 grams plus 200 grams becomes 1,200, right? 1,200 grams. So it's 25 over 4% of 1,200 grams. Now we can write this as 25 over 4 divided by 100 multiplied by 1,200 grams. And we can solve this further by inversing the sign and then inversing the fraction, right? Because this means 100 over 1, so it becomes 1 over 100 times 1,200 grams. And now we can start reducing. Cancel out the last zeros, top, bottom, top, bottom. Now 4 ones are 4 and 4 threes are 12. So 25 times 3 becomes 75 grams, right? So 1/4% of 1 kg 200 grams is actually 75 grams. Now let's do this question. This has a different unit involved here. So there's no problem, we just changed 120% into 120 over 100, replace the off by a multiply sign, and 2 meters 60 centimeter becomes 200 centimeters, because 1 meter is 100 cm, right? So 2 meters will become 2 times 100 cm. So 2 times 100 is 200 cm, right? So 2 meters actually 200 cm plus 60 cm, which becomes 260 cm, right? So 120 over 100 times 260 cm. Now we can proceed by cancelling again. Last 0 with last 0, last 0 with last 0, and then we are going to just multiply it. 12 times 26 will give us 312 cm. So 120% of 260 cm is actually 312 cm. All right, 312 cm. All right. Now, we can also have a question in this way, as a decimal percent, right? So 75.5% of 3 years and 4 months. So how do we do this? Now, it's your choice again, as I said, either you change this 75.5 as a fraction and then divide by 100 and then multiply by the months, or leave it in the decimal form. I choose to leave it in the decimal form, right? So I'm going to just write down 75.5 over 100. 75.5% is 75.5 over 100. Replace the off with the multiply sign. Again we have years and months, so we have to change it into months. The whole thing has to be in 1 unit, right? So 3 years is how many months? 1 year is 12 months. So 3 years will be 3 times 12, right? Will be 36 months, right? So 3 years is 36 months plus 4 months will give us how much? 40, right? Total 40 months. So 3 year 4 months is actually 40 months. Right. Now I can just shift the decimal point back 2 places. It becomes 0.755 multiplied by 40 months, and I can get my answer. Becomes 0.755 multiplied by 40 is actually equals to 30.200, or you can also write it down as 30.2 months, right? So the calculation is actually very, very simple, right? So now this was all about finding the percentage of a quantity or the percentage of the amount. So I'm sending you a few practice questions to do as your homework so that you understand them better. So before we go on to the next step, we need to practice all these questions first. All right. So take care and goodbye.